Well, 2 points of this little commentary. One is I usually read a couple of books at a time. I mean, sometimes many. It's all one puzzle, the life puzzle. It's not the politics puzzle, the environmental puzzle, and the human relations puzzle. Two great books here about a similar time in history. One, The Times They Were a Changin', and it's 1964. And The Last Honest Man about Frank Church. I hope we all haven't forgotten about the great Senator Frank Church. Well, 1964 was a really important year. Civil Rights Act, Lyndon Johnson, Vietnam War ramping up, uh, unrest in the streets, and so on. And this book, the only mistake it makes is to go back a little before 64 and go forward a little after 64. But you have the music and the culture and the Rolling Stones and the protests and everything in here. And that gives a bit of a context to Frank Church. Now, I'm not a big conspiracy theory. I lived with the Kennedy assassination theories. I note that the great Jim Lehrer was working for the Dallas Morning News and for 6 months followed down every possible conceivable conspiracy and couldn't get to the end of any of them to prove anything. However, oddball event, I have been there. It is not a difficult shot, by the way. You could throw a softball and hit a car in the middle of Dealey Plaza from the sixth floor depository building, book depository, and you could also throw it from the grassy knoll. Not a big place, very small place, looks much bigger on TV. Well, at any rate, for those who want reality as opposed to conspiracies, Frank Church got it. In his committee, he looked at the excesses of the CIA and the FBI, and they were excessive, including spying on Americans and doing harm to Americans. But it was after Watergate, and nobody was interested. So conspiracy buffs, get some reality. The Last Honest Man, it's good reading. And so if you like it, the 60s, the times they are changing, and try reading two books at once. Works for me.